And that's a perfect segue into our first panel. I will introduce as our moderator a member of our organizing committee, also a member of the board of directors for the Salisbury Area Chamber, and his real job is working for Mount Air Farms. Welcome Zach Evans to the podium. Now you're official.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Bill. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here today. My name's Zach. I work for Mount Air Farms here on Delmarva. I'm the community relations manager. And in the free time that I never seem to have, I also spend a lot of time helping out with civic and community organizations. So I truly am grateful for the opportunity to be here on behalf of the Salisbury Area Chamber Board of Directors. When Bill asked me to do this, he told me that my job was to stand here on the podium and keep time and move the program along quickly. But if any of you know me well and have seen me with a microphone, then buckle up because it's going to be a long day. I'm a proud alumni of Salisbury University, and it was a pleasure to meet Dr. LaPree. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support and for allowing us to have this wonderful event. I told her that I spent a lot of late nights in Blackwell Library, and I now know confidently that if we had this academic commons when I was here at school, I probably would have never went home because this place is beautiful. So let's give them a round of applause for hosting us and allowing us to have this wonderful event. We're going to jump right in with our first panel, and that is our Southern Delmarva Economic Development Directors panel. They're going to give us some post-pandemic updates. So I'd like to call them all to the stage. As I announce your name, you can start making your way up here. Mr. Dave Ryan, the Executive Director for Salisbury Wacomico Economic Development. Melanie Purcell, the Director of the Office of Tourism and Economic Development at Maryland's Coast, Worcester County. Susan Banks, our Director of Dorchester County Economic Development. Danny Thompson, the Executive Director for Somerset County Economic Development. And joining us new to the program this year, Mr. Robert Sabatini, the Executive Director for the Eastern Shore of Virginia Tourism Commission. Let's give them all a round of applause. Thank them for their time this Friday morning. So we have 3 microphones here, and I'm trusting that we can all play nice and share, right? But I want to go ahead and kick things off because we've got about an hour and 20 minutes with you folks. So let's start with Mr. Ryan, if that's okay, and you can give us maybe some post-pandemic updates and let us know how things are going.
Okay. You want me to stay here?
Yeah.
Stay here. First of all, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
That was the freebie. Give them one more, Dave.
For real. Congratulations, first of all, to the Chamber for another great turnout and what's truly a signature event for the Chamber. We appreciate the invitation to participate. We appreciate the Chamber's partnership and throughout the course of the year. We were asked to talk a little bit about some post-economic successes and maybe some challenges within our own jurisdictions. I think if I could, how long do you want this? I'm older than you. You can't interrupt me all the time. But
we'll figure out a way to move you along.
Talk a little bit about the challenges first. And if I had to characterize today's climate in which we compete, especially from an economic development perspective, maybe 4 words might suffice. And those 4 words are scarcity, and complexity, uncertainty, and opportunity. And when I talk about scarcity, I'm really talking about the short supply of labor and industrial facilities. By far, the largest refrain I hear from our employers is the challenges they're experiencing within the labor market today. Those challenges are shortages of labor, skill sets, and mismatch, and even compensation levels. And from outsiders looking at the community as a place for a business location, the shortage I refer to is the lack of large and available empty or vacant industrial facilities. And that's good and bad news, right? So it's good to have those facilities full, but it's a lot easier to sell something if it's on the shelf as opposed to going through a 18-month or 24-month development cycle. So when I refer to complexity, it just seems to take a longer time to get things done these days. Part of that is the lingering effects of the pandemic. Part of that is the remote work environment that we're experiencing today. And part of that is supply chain issues. We have manufacturers here that enter into multi-year contracts, multi-year pricing, and lead times have gone from 2 weeks to sometimes 52 weeks if they're able to get some raw materials in at all. And that presents a number of different challenges, just a more complex environment. And when I talk about uncertainty, I'm really talking about the inflationary environment and what that looks like going into 2023. It wasn't a short or temporary time frame as it was suggested maybe last year by some economists on a federal level. And maybe those supply chain issues affect the larger businesses more than smaller businesses. I don't want to standardize, but maybe that's the case. On the other hand, I think the inflationary environment is more impactful or negatively impacting the smaller businesses than the larger. There's just less room to spread out costs, less room to find those cost-cutting savings, and I think perhaps they're taking the brunt of the inflationary environment. That said, at every part of the economic cycle, whether it's an expansive cycle or a regressive cycle, there's opportunities. And I think those communities that invest in workforce development, invest in their infrastructure now, when labor markets and supply chains, inflationary environments become more balanced, which they inevitably will, those that invest in workforce development and infrastructure now will really be preparing that economic platform for strong growth in the future. So lots of opportunities, I think, in today's climate as well.
Thank you, Dave.
And we had a presentation.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, you
Was
want
I supposed to give you this clicker, Dave?
What's that?
Was I supposed to give you this clicker?
Did you have a presentation?
Yeah.
He never has a presentation.
You had a presentation?
I never
You sort of
do,
buried
but
the headline.
I rarely do, but I
That
can.
was the lead, man. All right.
You tell me.
Well, it's up to you if there's anything you want to cover. We are a panelist short for this panel today,
You
so
guys
just so
should-
you know, Dave, everybody's got about 15 to 20 minutes. So you guys,
Okay.
yeah. That means you have 7 left.
Okay. No, we're good then. So we've been asked to talk about some economic successes since we last met as well, and we have tens of millions of reasons to be optimistic about downtown. This is a picture of the Ross facility in downtown. We can see through just about all corners of our community these days, and it's on schedule due to open in the fall of 2023 with 350 students in the downtown area. And not far away from that, this past year, since we last met, Tidal Health has instituted a residency program, and I think it's, don't hold me to it, I think it's 27 new doctors will start their residency here in 2023. Watch that program, out of 2,700 applications, watch that program grow over the coming years and watch what it does to the demand for downtown Salisbury and the housing. We were pleased to play a role in the location of Vehicles for Change in Winter Place Park. It's a nonprofit organization that's training people with barriers to employment in auto repair and then fixing cars and providing them to people who need them the most, especially those trying to get to gainful employment. And hats off to Junior Achievement as they, since we met last year, began construction in earnest on the Achievement Park in the former Kmart shopping center. It's 25,000 square feet. We cannot reach our students early enough to talk about financial literacy or talk about jobs in the area or pathways to those careers. So this center will bring 10,000 people through each and every year, 10,000 students each and every year, and hats off to those that help make that happen. Warwick's 40,000 square foot Applied Technology Center is well under construction, on schedule, and I think, Ray, correct me if I'm wrong, due to open in the spring of 2023, devoted solely to the trades. And we continue to make investments at our airport. Since we last met, the water line from the city of Salisbury is complete. Natural gas is on the way. Additional cell coverage is on the way. The aircraft fire and rescue facility is in design, and we're connecting with University of Maryland Eastern Shore and the airlines to strengthen our relationships there with creating a talent pipeline through a number of programs within UMES. Since we last met earlier this year, Chesapeake Shipbuilding announced the 150 or more jobs at the shipyard. You're going to see millions of dollars in additional capital investment in plant, property, and equipment soon, as they have a new contract for 12 additional vessels there. And talk about workforce development, we talked about that a lot last year, and I'm not sure they'd be able to expand at the rate that they have had we not started the Archon Welding Training Center about 10 years ago, where we've graduated over 100 welders in the past 10 years or so. I mentioned the shortage of industrial space, and one of the larger spaces on the market today was just acquired by a private developer. This is the aerial view of the former Campbell Soup plant on 510 West Road that was acquired, and you're going to see some transformation in that property and some additional and much needed industrial space come onto the market. And hats off to our Department of Recreation and Parks and Wicomico Tourism. We played a small role, and congratulations to the Tri-County Council as well, and through their Community Economic Development Strategy, we were able to garner $5.5 million to improve some exterior components to the Civic Center, as well as improve some safety measures. So all of that happened in the past year, a lot of that into infrastructure, a lot of that into workforce development. And the more we can do that at this period of time, the stronger the economic foundation will be in the years to come. I think that's...
Thank you, Dave. Before I have you jump in, Melanie, I'm going to invite Danny up here real quick because we have a surprise guest who's with us momentarily, and I'd like Danny to have the opportunity to introduce somebody very special to the room.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Bill. So my presentation until later, but Bill said we had some time. So Dave called me about 2 months ago. He's been a mentor to me. He's always tried to take care of me, and I respect everything Dave says. So I listen, Dave. I do listen. So he told me about 2 months ago. He said, Danny, you really got to pick up yourself a little bit, man. He said you're slacking a little bit. You don't have the energy that you had. You know, I don't know if it's COVID. I don't know what it is and all like this. And so I'm just trying to rack my brain and all this kind of stuff. And so I was like, you know what? I got something. So I had the pleasure. I've known this young lady since she was born, and I know her dad. I grew up with her dad, and he converted. He's a pastor, and he's praying for me every day that I do better. And I appreciate that, Pastor Steve. And but anyway, I was able to. John Phoebus had another obligation, and we had a send-off party for Miss Marilyn. And so anyway, when I got back in the office on Monday, it was Sunday afternoon. I said, "Man, I wonder if Bill would let me get her here." You know, I guess I called Bill up, and Bill said, "Danny, whatever you need, you got, right?" So I'm going to let Kaylin come up. She is a Somerset County resident. She lives in Marion Station, strawberry capital of the world. And she is Miss Maryland. Can you give her applause just for that right now? So she has a fabulous story, and I told her we don't have a lot of time, but here's one of the reasons. This crowd here, and I think Bill said it and Zach said it, is a phenomenal crowd. I love coming here, not just to see Dave, but I love coming here to see you guys. You guys are the moving shakers of our region, not just Wicomico County and all, but truly our region. It's well represented, whether it's Sussex or Accomack or whatever. You guys are moving shakers. Well, Kayla, and I'll let her go into a little bit, but I don't want her to do this part. She is number 2. They have a scholarship fundraising program for Miss Maryland, Miss America scholarship program. And so if you raise the most money, you get extra scholarship money, but you also are automatically placed in the top 10 when she competes next week in Connecticut for Miss America. So I want her to be in the top 10, right? I want her to win, but you know what I mean? I want to start with the top 10. So anyway, she's 600 and some odd dollars from getting to that first spot. Now, that's phenomenal right there, $600. And I told, Steve, or no, was it Bill? Bill said, ain't no way we ain't gonna come up with that $600. So look, I'm gonna let her tell the thing. It's called Spot Fund, Spot Go, whatever it's called. But it's Spot Fund.
Yeah.
Spot Fund. And so anyway, while she's talking and all like that, some of you can Google that, make that donation, and let's put her, when we send her off next week, let's put her in first place in the country for fundraising for Miss America scholarships. I'm going to turn it over now to Kayla.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for honoring me with this privilege. Like he said, I am a Somerset County local, and it's not often you see someone from the Eastern Shore actually represented as Miss Maryland. And not only that, I am the youngest Miss Maryland in the last 50 years, so I am going against some pretty stiff competition. Thank you so much. But through the Miss America organization, which is a 501c3 program, it's not only considered a scholarship organization, but it focuses a lot on personal impact and how individuals can make an impact in their own society. And for me, that looked like developing what's called a social impact initiative, and mine is called The Right Reason, spelled W-R-I-T-E, and it's based on the premise that writing is a practice for critical thinking. As Miss Maryland, I have gone to enriched after-school programs through a curriculum that I've developed, and as Miss America, I would partner with the YMCA to create a national campaign and further this after-school program. And so, as Miss Maryland, as I said before, I'm traveling the state, furthering my social impact initiative, but it got me thinking while I was here is I'm standing in a room before leaders, thinkers, representatives, but you guys aren't always going to be here. And so that got me thinking further that if you want to teach our future leaders, our future thinkers, our future educators to think for themselves and to partake in civic society, to have a flourishing economy, we have to first teach them to think. So as Mr. Danny said, there is a Spot Fund link that you can go to on either my Facebook page, which is Miss America MD, as well as my Instagram page, which you can click to donate to the scholarship that Miss America provides. Just for competing next week, I'll automatically, whether I make top 10 or not, get a $3,000 scholarship, but additionally, those scholarships continue to rack up with as many preliminary awards or things of that nature. Through the Miss America organization as a whole, having not even competed yet, I have made over $15,000 in scholarship to provide for my education. So I want to thank you guys for having me here and having me speak for just a minute. I know this could have made brighten your day just a little bit. I know for me, I love talking about academics and I love the discussion, but things can grow a little bit dull. So I hope your morning was brightened at least a little bit. Thank you so much.
So I just want to thank our panelists for your patience. It's not every day that we have a unique opportunity to recognize Miss Maryland. As Kayla said, a representative from the Eastern Shore is something we're all very proud of. And Bill, you can go ahead and tell security to lock the doors now. We need $630 before any of you can leave. All right, so let's jump back into the programming, and we'll get back on track. Next up, we've got Melanie Purcell from Worcester County.
Okay, there we go. And actually, Dave was looking for his checkbook as soon as she said that, so I think he left it in the car. Yeah, pickling Dave today, so good to see you all, and I am also a proud alum of Salisbury University, and I'm proud to be on the Purdue School of Business Executive Advisory Council. So I love being involved with the school, and my son is a sophomore here as well. I'm sure he's still sleeping right now. Anyway, I'm actually going to talk quite a bit about tourism today. You know, I am overseeing the Office of Tourism and Economic Development, and really in Worcester County, it does go hand in hand. Not only on Maryland's coast, in Worcester County and Ocean City, but all of the Atlantic beaches in our region, you know, be it Sussex County with Bethany, Lewis, Rehoboth, and then of course down in Accomack County, Chincoteague Island. So I think that tourism is a critical thing to talk about today, and it's a driving industry, I know specifically for Worcester County. We are about 2 years into our rebranding effort with Maryland's Coast, and it's been phenomenal. I remember our consultant, when we launched the brand 2 years ago, she said, now is when the real work begins. So it certainly has been a wild ride, and we've spent a lot of time integrating all of our collateral materials, our websites, all of our efforts, and even our team. And really, it's integrating destination marketing and business attraction and retention, working with Parks and Recreation, working with economic development, tourism, and I'm very proud to say a lot of our departments across the county are taking on the Maryland's Coast brand, so that's exciting. In addition, Ocean City, many of you might have been there. They did their brand launch just a couple of months ago, so we're going to see a lot of that new creative coming out in the spring. It is Ocean City, somewhere to smile about, so more to come there. But we work very cooperatively with Ocean City. It's very important for us. You know, they have the hotels, they have a lot of the assets and amenities, but we do in the county as well, and so working together has been really phenomenal with them. I want to talk a little bit about tourism as an economic driver in Worcester County specifically. The numbers we just got from our tourism economics report are just through the roof. So really, tourism has been incredibly resilient and has really bounced back after 2020 in a really, really positive way. So just in Worcester County, spending grew 40%. In 2021, nearing $2.5 billion. We're generating 15,000 visitor-supported jobs annually and about $250 million in state and local taxes. And we call these tourism tax codes. I was just talking with Mindy Burgoyne about this at Commerce. You know, amusement and activity, entertainment, food and beverage, hotel tax. So all of these codes that are relevant to tourism are really pulled together, and we look at the performance of our various DMOs and counties based on those tourism tax codes. In addition, the governor announced just about, a month or two ago, that Maryland as a whole has grown back to 90% of its pre-pandemic tourism industry figures. So that is huge, not only for our county, but also for Maryland as a whole. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the nation as a whole with regard to tourism. Another exciting thing this year is for FY23, Governor Hogan infused another $8 million for all of the DMOs across the state, including the counties, Ocean City and Baltimore City. Typically, we get about $2.5 million through the Maryland Tourism Development Board. This additional funding is going to allow us to get really further out of market, really promote all of our counties, all of our destinations, and Maryland as a whole. We're also hoping with the legislature this year, perhaps we can include that in the budget to make that a $10.5 million allocation annually because of the performance of tourism and what it does bring back to the state of Maryland. Just with visitor volume alone in Worcester County, we're looking at about 142% of the 2019 levels in 2021. We completely take out 2020. We know what happened in 2020. We were all stagnant. We were all on hold. Nobody was going anywhere. We did come back very, very aggressively in 2021. First of all, we didn't hold back on advertising. We had tremendous assets to promote Ocean City and Worcester County outdoor recreation. We had golf. Golf came back in a big way, and we really forged ahead with our marketing and advertising. So when all that pent-up demand just exploded in 2021, the numbers were through the roof. We're really starting to see that flatten out a little bit now. It's still high, it's still good for 2022, but we're never probably going to see those 2021 numbers again. But just in terms of 2023, we're looking promising. Guests are looking for low-cost options. We just had the tourism conference in Ocean City a couple of weeks ago. We had Anibam Bersu there, who was giving his outlook on the tourism industry, and it does look promising. And I think that if we continue to forge ahead, adding those value-added experiences, we're really going to see more of our numbers really bounce back in a great way. We also had Tourism Economics and U.S. Travel did an economic outlook and forecast for 2023, and it was really kind of interesting, and I wanted to share this with you. Although this is a national U.S. travel, because we do rely so heavily on the tourism industry and that we're looking at how, what guests are thinking, their disposable income, how their travel plans are thinking for the 2023 season, I thought it was really important. Looking at a mild recession anticipated in 2023 and continued inflation, the tour and travel industry will remain resilient. They expect room demand to increase nationally and travel will prevail. Why is this? There's no signs of weakness in the hotel room demand. It's fully recovered nationwide. We're seeing an expansion of short-term rentals. We see this in Worcester especially. A couple of years ago, we implemented the requirement for business licensing as well as the remission of room tax and sales tax for short-term rentals, and that's really shown us the short-term rentals that are actually in our county and specifically in Ocean City that really generate a lot of revenue for the county and for the state. There's no signs of auto travel weakening, and we are a massive drive-to destination. And I know a lot of the counties benefit when people cross that Bay Bridge coming to Ocean City and really exploring the Eastern Shore, and we really encourage that, and we want to see all of our counties, the drive-to, the scenic byways, that's a really strong asset that we have that we really push. The U.S. households are in a position of strength. I was really surprised to hear this, but they said balance sheets remain strong, and excess savings may have dropped in the past year, but remain high. Nationally, about $1.7 trillion of excess savings. That's why this is so different than what we saw back in 07 and 08 and 09. So people still have that disposable income. There's still pent-up demand. People are prioritizing travel. They want experiences. The other thing that's kind of interesting that is something that I think that is a benefit and something that we can really take advantage of is 34% of people plan to travel as they work remotely. So in the next 12 to 24 months. So they're not, going somewhere to work, they're going on vacation and they're working while they're on vacation. So that really sets us up in a great way. It's good because remote work is becoming more prevalent for the visitor. Now for the workforce, that's a challenge because of course we are in hospitality, tourism, skilled trades. You can't work remotely with that. So that's something that is, as Dave said, that's still a challenge for us. We're also seeing the return of business travel. Groups, conventions, increased bookings, and I'll talk a little bit about our convention center here shortly. Okay, yeah, that's just a lot of words that I just went over. So, in terms of our post-pandemic advertising, again, we're working cooperatively with Ocean City. We're putting on influencer programs, niche marketing in all of our various areas such as golf, outdoor recreation, cultural heritage. I also serve on the Beach to Bay Heritage Area Board, which is fantastic cultural heritage and really offering those kind of assets, the murals, the historic, the museums, all of those in terms of trails. It's really becoming very, very popular in a post-pandemic world. Also paid content activation, working with our media, stories, blogs. People want to know what kind of experience they can have. So the more we can tell the story and do content activation, the better. We also have launched an app called Go Coastal. It's engaging with our customers, offering deals and specials once they are in our destination. Lead generation is key. How do we get those email addresses? How do we stay in touch with our guests and people that show interest in Ocean City and Worcester County? So we've grown exponentially. I think we have about 40,000 really bona fide email addresses that we keep in touch with monthly that show interest in our region. Also events. I mean, you'll see this in the small towns. Events drive commerce, they drive business, they drive interest. And Ocean City has really excelled in the shoulder seasons with events, and as well as our small towns. You go down to Snow Hill during the Seafood Festival and you can't move. So the more that we can promote events and really bring those events to our region, the better. In terms of tourism initiatives, and then I'll get into some of our other initiatives. Again, the out-of-market recognition and identity. We were never really able to get too far out of market. A lot of times we would promote our assets in the county to the people that were already here. But because of this infusion of additional funding, we're now able to really get our messaging and our brand for Maryland's coast out of market, along with Ocean City. Ocean City is always out of market, but Worcester County wasn't typically out of market. So I'm really excited to get that brand recognition and get people coming to, not just coming to Worcester County for Ocean City, but vice versa. So we're partners in all of this. In addition, sports tourism. I know we've talked about that the last couple of years, and I do have some information. You may have seen the article that came out. There was a study through the Maryland Stadium Authority that just was released with regard to a location adjacent to Stephen Decatur High School for the massive regional sports complex. The price tag is pretty steep, but the economic impact is amazing. So we don't know where that's going to be. There's still a lot going on, a lot of moving parts with that, not just the location, but the funding sources and everything like that. But I do see that on the horizon, and I see that having a deep economic impact for tourism and the economy as a whole in our region. We're also looking at the waterways, hiking and biking trails. Again, product development, connectivity, making sure not only are we connecting our towns with our county, but our counties with our other counties. So working with Somerset, working with Wacomico with regard to connecting all of our trail system. We also have agritourism has been on the rise. I spoke at a panel at the tourism conference about this. We did get a piece of legislation passed last year allowing for on-farm buildings to be exempt from certain building codes to allow for agritourism businesses to thrive and for farmers to be able to diversify what they offer to tourists and guests that come to our county. We're also looking at visitor tracking. You know, data is king, and we've been working with a company called Zartico, and we partner with Ocean City on this to see how people move when they get to our region. When they come to Ocean City for Sunfest, are they moving around the county? So we're looking at credit card information, cell phone tracking data, and it's pretty phenomenal. We can do a lot of like fencing around different events throughout the county. So it's giving that intel and that intelligence for us to be able to then plan how we're going to market in the future and what markets we're going to go after, where the opportunities are. We're also looking at a new conference space in Snow Hill we're excited about. It's been a long time coming, so we're going to have more of a welcome center in our county seat to welcome guests not only to Snow Hill but to the county. And then I'm also looking at some ideas to revamp our visitor center in Pocomoke. It's shocking. We see over 400,000 people come through our welcome center right when you get into Maryland. And those are buses, those are transient guests, those are people that are coming for business travel. And so we really want to take advantage of that and give them a good experience when they come into Maryland. Also targeting, I really already talked about this, looking at our key assets, our points of interest through niche campaigns. We just won an award for our golf campaign for expanding our market. With that, shopping local, outdoor adventure, history, heritage, fishing, dining. Dining's huge. That was like number 2 with all age groups. Somebody did a presentation on like millennials versus baby boomers versus Xers, and dining was always at the top for why people come to a destination. So the more we can diversify and offer those farm to table, dock to plate experiences, the better. And then this is just a little bit of some of our creative that we've expanded with the brand. You may have seen our billboards, we've got TV commercials, we've got print ads. So it's been a really exciting ride being able to launch that brand. And now I just want to talk a little bit about some of the economic development initiatives that we're working on. We were very thrilled and thankful to Governor Hogan and the Tri-County Council for the Rural Maryland Economic Development Funds in the Lower Shore, and all the regional councils did receive an infusion of funding. Our county and our county commissioners decided to go for a number of projects. I know the other counties, I think, were really centralized on specific projects, which is fantastic. So we're looking at really, again, talking about the trail system, regional trail and greenways project. And again, that's connecting the towns to some of the other projects. I know 611 now, they're also in the exploratory phase about connecting Route 50 to Assateague Island. Snow Hill has done a phenomenal job on their bikeways and walkways study. Pocomoke, we're going to be funding a study for them. And so again, these are assets, and this is that product development that the guests are looking for. And these are people that are coming from all over. I know the Iron Furnace 50 that was, a couple of months ago, when they show the demographics of where people are coming from, it's pretty phenomenal. And they're staying here and they're spending their money here. So that's what we want. In addition, we're working on the Northern Worcester Regional Water and Sewer Engineering and Design Project. So again, the Route 50 corridor, Route 611, there's a lot of improvements that are needed in that water wastewater. I learned a lot about what membranes are. I didn't know what that was before. And we've been working closely with our environmental programs department in terms of identifying those projects. And that infrastructure is key for us to see additional expansion and growth on the Route 50 and Route 611 corridors. In addition, the dredging of the commercial fishing harbor. I know the Army Corps comes in annually and does the actual inlet, which is something we've been working on for years, trying to come up with a long-term solution for that. But the harbor itself, we lose commercial vessels every year, which is definitely a negative economic impact for us. So we are going to set forth some funding to actually dredge that, and that should last us for a few years right there in the commercial fishing harbor. In addition, we're doing a Main Street fiber connectivity project. And, learning more about fiber and internet access, there's access and then there's the speed. So, and then having the devices to be able to connect to the internet. So our downtown areas are going to be seeing higher speed internet so they can not only do business better, but more e-commerce and be able to really be high-speed internet in, Berlin, Snow Hill, and Pocomoke, specifically in their town centers and on their main streets. Another initiative we're working on, actually, we're meeting next week, and Sarah's here. We've put forth a proposal about a Lower Shore labor market mapping study. We often look at census data, we look at Bureau of Labor Statistics. We really want to try to get some real-time interviewing job seekers. Why are they not coming back to work in our region? Interviewing employers, really doing a lot of stakeholder meetings and really getting boots on the ground to find out what is going on with our labor market, and then helping with solutions. Data is so key and so critical. And we're hoping to tie that in with the Delmarva Index, and that's something that's a great tool that Midshore Council and Lower Shore have really worked on. And if you haven't seen the Delmarva Index, you got to check it out. It's a lot of great data there. I'm almost done. A couple more initiatives that we have. With regard to the Roland D. Powell Convention Center. I think last year I mentioned that we were in phase 3 expansion. Well, I talked to Larry Nacolino last week, and that place is rocking and rolling. It is a huge economic driver for not only for Worcester County and Ocean City, but for the region. And with that, Larry's always telling me we got to do something more with the airport. We got to get more business travel. So hearing what Dave's initiatives are with the airport is just wonderful to hear, and we want to be behind that. We have about 11,000 hotel rooms in Worcester County, and 25,000 condos. We want to fill them. We want to generate that revenue, that room tax, that sales tax. So completion of phase 3, fully operational in use, about 250,000 square feet of space. Of course, the Performing Arts Center with our new Director of Tourism and Business Development, Tom Perlazzo. We're seeing Broadway shows. I think Hairspray's coming up. We're seeing a lot of really great entertainment, and they're really taking advantage of that 1,200-seat facility. Again, generating more interest, more revenue for the city and the county. In terms of the economic impact of the convention center itself, we're looking at about 33 to 35 million in FY23, and then with the Performing Arts Center, up to 35 shows, convention center, 50 plus meetings, and then we're just going to see that grow in FY24. And these are not estimates, these are bookings. So these are things that are already booked out in advance, because they have to book out way in advance at the convention center. Logistically, that's how they operate. They're always adding new groups, and then of course the air access. We want to see that expansion to add more opportunity for business travel, meetings, and conventions. And there's a really great initiative in our region. It's called the Hospitality Sales and Marketing Partnership. These are sales directors from the hotels, from the museums, the other points of interest, Jolly Rogers, also the convention center, working cooperatively to drive groups, drive business to the region. So it's not only do we want them to come to our hotel or our convention center, we don't want them to go, dare I say, to Virginia. We want them to stay in Maryland and Worcester County, so there's plenty for everybody though. And then we have, of course, what I've been talking about the past couple of years, the Skilled Trades, Ag, Tourism, and Technology Program. We've been partnering with the Rural Maryland Council with RIMPIF funds as well as our county. It's been phenomenal. So we're growing that program. We're also going to incorporate more apprenticeships and internships, again, working on that pipeline. I know even in the county, we are desperate for emergency communications, 911 operator. There's so many things that even as a county, and I know the municipalities as well as the private sector desperately need. So the more that we can work to create that pipeline and work with our school system, work with our CTE, we're really thrilled to do that. In terms of other workforce initiatives, we did launch our Coastal Careers Job Board. I know Nancy's been pounding the pavement trying to get businesses to put their jobs on there, because we are marketing that and promoting that in the region. This spring, we hope to geofence some of the colleges and universities about the seasonal opportunities that are available. But with that comes transportation, housing, all of the issues that we see. I know we met a couple weeks ago with Shore Transit, talking about what some of our needs are in Worcester County, moving people around the county for workforce and jobs. And first of all, do they want to work? And that's why I think the labor market study is so important. In terms of real estate, I know I talked to our Coastal Association of Realtors this week. Again, limited inventory for commercial and residential, and then the prices are definitely leveling off, with the 7% interest rate. So we're seeing that slow down a little bit. Healthcare expansion is going crazy in Worcester County. We have Atlantic General Hospital, but then we have the pavilions with Tidal Health in Ocean Pines on 589, and then the construction of the new Godelski complex on 589 as well, and that's right adjacent pretty much to the casino. The casino, that's their numbers are through the roof. And they also generate the VLT funds that come to the municipalities, the counties, and also create grant opportunities for businesses to expand, start, grow in our region. And also with regard to NASA and Rocket Lab, we're on a regional group with NASA Rocket Lab, and I know David Pierce is going to speak later today, but we want to be able to look at the folks that are moving to the area for these highly skilled jobs. Do they want to live in Worcester County? Do they want to raise their family there? We've got great schools, we've got great health care, and then where else can the folks that are coming, if dad's working at Rocket Lab, what's the rest of the family doing? So that's another workforce opportunity that we have. And with that, we're also now working on a collateral piece that's going to be Live Maryland's Coast. It's going to be a combination of the visitor's guide, as well as the Choose, which is targeted at attracting business and business expansion of more of a lifestyle piece. So when we're going to businesses, how can you recruit talent? Here's a collateral piece for you to show the quality of life, what it's like to be living here on the coast, on the Eastern Shore, and really try to promote that just as much as any of the career opportunities that are available. So with that.
All right, we're gonna jump right along then. Thank you, Melanie.
Was that more than 10 minutes?
No, you're okay. So we've still got 12, 13 minutes for everybody. I just want to give everyone the chance to go over their presentation. So we're going to transition from the beach to the bay. How's that sound? Let's go with Susan Banks, the Director of Dorchester County Economic Development.
Thank you so much. Is this on? Hello? Yep. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. I am also Salisbury alumni. It is always a pleasure to be here for this event specifically. I am going to start off with a video. Carrie actually talked me into adding it. I didn't think I had enough time, so it's a shortened video. So if you're interested, you can go onto our website and see the full video. It has not been released to anybody, so you are the first people to see it. It's one of our successes. We're really proud of it. And it is, it's marketing from a business owner's perspective in Dorchester. So if we can play that video.
My business, Riverlane Photography, is a full-service photography studio. I actually have a studio space right here in downtown Cambridge on High Street. I love Dorchester County. I think it's a great place to raise a family. There's a lot of young entrepreneurs here. There's a lot of young creative people here. I just think it's just a fun, vibrant area. When I have a day off in Dorchester County, well, first of all, my kids know I don't do anything until I've had coffee. We're either heading to Blackwater Bakery, or I'm gonna fix a cup at home, and we're gonna grab some, food on the way out, and we just really like to be out in the community.
So we have a really welcoming family vibe here at Blackwater Bakery. You can get your coffee, you can get breakfast, free Wi-Fi, lots of different means and reasons to be able to just say, let's meet at Blackwater Bakery.
We came to Cambridge and Dorchester County because it had a vibe that most fit our needs. The landscape here is full of surprising stories and surprising scenes. What makes a good road trip? For me, it's surprises that you encounter along the way. That might be a bit of beautiful nature, whether a bird or a baby fox or whatever goes by. In my case, as a history nerd, it's more likely to be kind of being on the landscape where these really fascinating and often inspiring stories unfolded in days gone by. That is true certainly of the tales of the Underground Railroad and Harriet Tubman, but it is also true of the tales of entrepreneurship and survival.
Mitchell Graphics is a local company. We've been in business for 17, 18 years. We do full-fledged car wraps, banners, decals, t-shirts, just started embroidery.
Our customer base is everyone. We learn so much from people, we love people. Working and living in Dorchester has supported our growth. Our business though is from the community outreach that we do, and people believe in you and actually doing things to keep giving back to teach our kids and be role models has really allowed us to flourish and kind of just be connected.
A great day in Dorchester to me consists of going out on a boat, tubing, going up on the beach, maybe cracking a beer, taking my family out, meeting some friends. That's a good day for me.
Yeah, I mean, what more do you want?
You know, it's a typical immigrant story. You know, Dad came here, always wanted something on his own, so found this hotel in Cambridge. And growing up in that business, you get an itch for it. I'm my dad's biggest fan. So watching him do that, you know, I knew that at some point in my life, I wanted to follow in his footsteps. So after college, I naturally just, you know, joined him and, you know, expanded from there. So at this moment, we have 3 hotels under our wing, a few retail stores and real estate. So my best day in Dorchester County has to start off by playing golf in the morning at the Hyatt. And then afterwards, coming into town, going to Don Chewy's or RER for some food, and of course, ending the night right here at Blue Ruin.
We purchased this building 9 years ago, and the history is it's 177 years old. My vision is to open Cambridge's first distillery. There are only a handful of distilleries in all of Maryland. It will be a central location for Cambridge's downtown.
Cambridge is an amazing town. There's a lot going on. There's more things coming to Cambridge. I love this community, and that's why I want to build more with this community.
Dorchester County provides an awesome quality of life. We're close to the water, there's no traffic, it's easy to commute in and out of work, and by the time you get off, you still have time to either go out or spend time with your family. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Well, we have a bunch of pending projects. Melanie kind of talked about it a little bit. The rural fund projects we've worked on all year, they are still pending. I was hoping that they wouldn't be at this point, but I figured I'm going to go ahead and talk about them anyway because we've spent a lot of time working on them this year. But before I get into them, I am going to just show you an overview of a bunch of data sets over the past 5 years. This is a report that was created by Beacon in partnership with MEDA. MEDA is the Maryland Economic Development Association. I love this report. It gives us a bunch of data that economic developers look for. So it shows tax base and number of business applications, which is your EIN applications, average employment by year, weekly wages, population, residential and commercial property cash values. So again, this is all Dorchester, and we're seeing positive growth. So that is a very good thing. And I'm hoping that this report will come out each year so we can, keep track. This is just wonderful for us and for our county council and anybody that's interested, so we can watch the growth or their non-growth. And you can see there has been some growth in unemployment, which we don't want, but it is coming back down. So the following projects I'm going to show, I'm hoping will continue our growth in Dorchester. Again, these are pending. The state allocated funding to the rural counties. Dorchester County received $3.2 million. We've worked with the Midshore Regional Council over many, many months on 7 projects. Most of the projects are on the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy for the Midshore. And our projects fit into 2 categories which present some challenges for us: infrastructure and workforce. I'm going to start off with infrastructure. So without good infrastructure, communities fail. Modern infrastructure is correlated with higher land values, higher wages, and higher productivity. Infrastructure is a good investment. That's why broadband is our top priority. We are allocating $240,000 to the Maryland Broadband Cooperative. Funds are going to be used to upgrade service and capacity in Dorchester. The County Council is also allocating $1.2 million towards the larger broadband initiative. Why do we need it? I think everybody understands why we need it. Business, education, healthcare, housing. People aren't going to buy a house unless you can get on the internet. In order to be competitive, you got to have broadband. Our next project is Woods Road. We're allocating roughly $1.2 million to Woods Road. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with it. It is pretty much the industrial corridor of Cambridge. If you're coming into town, headed east, it is the light before you get to the Hyatt, and it is directly across from the new medical hospital. I forget what it is. Freestanding, it has a, we don't call it a hospital, what is it? Freestanding medical facility. So Woods Road has several manufacturers on it. We're going to repave, do some culvert replacement, drainage upgrades, and this will allow for better trucking accessibility. It'll help us attract and retain jobs and improve safety. Several years ago, we lost rail service to Woods Road, so trucking traffic has increased since then. And if you live in the southern part of our county, you would access Route 16 to Woods Road to get to the hospital. So we need it to be safe for everyone. We've also been allocated $380,000 in a Rural Maryland Council RIMPIF grant, so we are very appreciative to the Rural Maryland Council for that. Next project would be $1 million to CWDI. This is Cambridge Harbor. It's at the base of the Choptank River Bridge when you're coming into Cambridge. The $1 million will provide CWDI with a complete design deliverable set of documents that will include underground utilities, streetscapes, and roadways. You see a sketch of what it could look like. It's not what it will look like, but what it could look like. And then you can see Governor's Hall on the top has come down completely, and the hospital is down. I haven't been by this week, but last week it was just one pile of rubble. So they are moving forward. And if you're not familiar with Cambridge Harbor, there are about 30 acres of developable land there. There's a deep port, public boat ramps will be there, 470-foot wharf, and many public open spaces. So we are really excited to help catapult this project forward. We're going to allocate $155,000 to the town of Vienna. The town would like to acquire property on Race Street, which is known as the community hall. They are going to create a parking lot and bathroom facilities, and this is going to encourage more tourism and tourism-based businesses to their waterfront. Next big challenge is workforce. So we have lots of vacancies, and there's a growing gap between what companies need and what the skills workers have. So there's two charts up on the screen. These are supply and deficits in Dorchester County. The top one is just your skills gap, and the bottom one has occupations. If you look at the red, the top deficits for the skill gaps are computer-based programs. Dorchester really needs some training in those areas. The top two occupations are CDLs. So we're hoping to fill some vacancies and some trainings and certifications with the next projects. We are allocating $257,000 to Chesapeake College. This will expand some of their trade programs, welding, marine trades. It'll create an advanced manufacturing program and assist with forming a center of innovation and entrepreneurship. It's also going to help fund tutoring on placement exams and certification exams. That is currently not existing. We're going to allocate $338,000 to expand Chesapeake College's CDL program to Cambridge. This proposal will be the first step in expanding the program to a second location. We hope to have 8 cohorts of students over 2 years. There'll be a special window of time for Dorchester residents to apply before it opens up to anybody else. And lastly, on these projects is the incumbent worker training. Economic Development is going to team up with the Upper Shore Workforce Investment Board for $50,000, and we're going to target 7 to 10 small businesses who typically wouldn't be able to afford training some of their key employees. We're hoping this will be like a tool for them to invest and train and retain certain employees.
Susan, I'm just going to hit you with a 2-minute.
Yeah, I'm almost done.
Okay.
So a few of our other projects that are going on. I don't even know if I'm on the right side here.
So we have one.
Oh, we have a Chesapeake Drive 810 and 812. It's 2 warehouses that are a total of 90,000 square feet. That is been fully sold and leased. We have a new manufacturer on Chesapeake Drive. We have allocated $600,000 to Cannery Park. They're going to do upgrades. If you're not familiar where that is, it's behind the packing house. And there's a pilot program that's going to address housing on the Pine Street area. Lastly, if you haven't been to town, to check out the Beacon of Hope, the new statue of Harriet Tubman, please come into town. It's beautiful, it's moving, it's worth your time. We also have a new women's mural downtown. And lastly, I just wanted to say the Economic Resiliency Toolkit. I spoke about it the last time I was here. We have won 3 awards since then. State, a national, and international award. We're very, very excited and proud of that recognition. And I think Bill mentioned it earlier, the business sentiment survey is open now. Please take it, tell your friends to take it. We look at the data and we use it as a compass as how we use our resources. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan. And I apologize for cutting you off there at the end. Next up, I'd like to introduce Mr. Robert Sabatini. He's with us for the first time. He is the Executive Director of the Eastern Shore of Virginia Tourism Commission.
Here we go. All right, First off, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Bill Chambers, the entire Salisbury board. Zach, appreciate it. Salisbury University, thank you for hosting us here today and giving me the opportunity to chat with y'all a little bit about the Eastern Shore of Virginia. And just a rebuttal, Melanie, a rising tide. I'm a big believer a rising tide lifts all boats, so please come to Virginia.
I mentioned Chickadee, right?
That's right. That's right. So first off, a little bit about myself. I've been in this position, came to the Eastern Shore of Virginia full-time in April of 2021. Before that, my career was in higher education, and the discussion on rhetoric and writing from Miss Marilyn really hit home for me. But I was in Farmville, Virginia, worked at Hampton-Sydney College, and served as the Dean of Students there. So it was a big shift for me. My family and I, we purchased a home in Machipongo in Northampton County, here on the Eastern Shore in 2017. And any opportunity we had, holiday, vacation, we were always coming to the Eastern Shore. And the Chamber of Commerce Tourism Commission position opened up. I threw my hat in, and here I am. And my family and I, we couldn't be more thrilled, really. So, I think it's no secret to jump into this that the Eastern Shore of Virginia, Maryland, there are a lot of great assets. We've got beaches, we've got rich history, we've got restaurants, we've got incredible food. But I want to point out, since I've been here, I think the greatest asset on the Delmarva Peninsula are its people. And a lot of those folks are sitting here right in this room that have made 2021. We've heard some of these numbers, and I'm going to share some of the numbers from Virginia here with y'all as well. So successful, and even 2022 coming out of this pandemic. Yes, we have the same challenges as y'all. Workforce, housing, I'll touch on them. I've got some thoughts on that as well, and what we're going to experience. But the Eastern Shore of Virginia Chamber of Commerce, well, this really jumped ahead. Y'all seen the whole presentation now.
I think if we point this way, yeah, we'll back it up.
Just back up just a few slides here.
One more. Come on now.
I'm not sure if this clicker's working, but that's all right.
Is that the same one?
I think this is the one you need.
Okay, very good. Well, it's just going to go anyway. So we were established 1953. And it's the Eastern Shore of Virginia Chamber of Commerce has really been a powerhouse on the shore. We do a lot of marketing, as you very well know that chambers of commerce do. If your business has not dipped its toe in the water, in the sand on the Eastern Shore, I really highly recommend you to do that. And I will be so bold as to say we've had just really an extraordinary year this year and in 2021. So some of our networking, you see our annual events that the chamber does. We've got a golf tournament, a bicycle ride, Chamber Fest. We actually featured the Molly Hatchet Band this past year. That was in Nancock, Virginia. We had over 1,000 folks attend that. We've got some exciting news. I'll give you a little bit of insight on next year's band. We're looking at 38 Special. So that should be a lot of fun. And much like Melanie said, I won't repeat a lot of it, agritourism. Agriculture is a main driver on the Eastern Shore of Virginia. So we started the Eastern Shore Virginia Agricultural Fair in Northampton County, and that was in Machipongo. Great turnout, a lot of vendors. Mount Air proudly sponsored and represented us there. We do a lot of advocacy work. This is where I think the real meat of the Eastern Shore Virginia Chamber of Commerce comes into play. And much like y'all, broadband, that's an area of opportunity for us. Workforce development. And what I'll say about workforce development, this is important for us to remember, I think, in this room, especially with COVID. The baby boomers retired. They are retiring. They're going to continue to retire. Healthcare is going to be a major force at least for the next 10 to 15 years. We've got to take care of them, right? The issue with that compared to what happened in 2008, 2009 when we went through the recession is our demographics. There's really no one to replace them. So you look back 15 years ago, folks went back to school. I know that because I was working in higher ed. There was a huge increase of people going back to school to get graduate degrees, and they weren't having children. They didn't have children during that time. So there's a demographic, an age gap in our especially in our hospitality. Like, why can't we get high schoolers to work? Why can't we get these people to work? They're not there. Another important factor, after the recession, it took, if you remember, about 5 years before the workforce returned to normal. That's important for us to remember. So if you've got good people working for you, hold on to them. Hold on to them. So some exciting things we've got coming down the pipeline is Delegate Rob Bloxham, our delegate there for the Eastern Shore, has really done a tremendous job looking to get a natural gas pipeline to come through there. This is going to benefit a lot of industries, but two major ones are the poultry industries that we have on the Eastern Shore of Virginia, Purdue and Tyson first and foremost. They're a big driver in our workforce. They employ a lot of folks. Our community college would tap into this, and that pipeline is going to run parallel with 13, which is really exciting. We've also got sewer lines coming in, tapping in with the Hampton Road Sanitation District. A main chunk of the broadband is going to be installed there. So a lot of excitement going on with this pipeline. In addition to that, it ran parallel with the old railroad that came, of course, through Maryland, down all the way south to Cape Charles. So that railroad has been pulled up, and we are converting that to a rails to trail, a bicycle, walking, horseback riding trail that will extend the entire length of the Eastern Shore from Cape Charles to Chincoteague. Really exciting movement there. Sewer, yep.
I know it's Rob's first year here, but whoever's pranking him with the slide thing, you got to give this guy an easier go.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Smart remarks are always welcome, too. So our spending, if you're not familiar with Virginia Eastern Shore, there's two counties. There's Accomack County, which is just to the south of us, and there's Northampton County. Again, just some numbers, visitor spending for the past years. 2021, a banner year. I think everybody hit the same thing. Northampton County recovered at a pace that was just incredible. Accomack did an incredible job. Accomack County did an incredible job. Chincoteague, as you know, Anancock, the town of Anancock is becoming a powerhouse. Wachaprague only, and of course Cape Charles. I mean, they're really hitting it through the roof there. But visitor spending, as you can see in 2021, there was $168 million. For Accomack County, and for Northampton County, there was 68 million, and with Northampton being the fastest recovering county in Virginia. Very impressive numbers there. I wish I could. I don't think I can take credit for the slideshow curtains and all of that. I'll wrap this up. I will close. We are becoming very data-driven at the Chamber and Tourism Commission. We have partnered with a group called Advanced Travel and Tourism. Very well-known marketing group. They're doing a lot of data collection for us. We, too, will be seeing who is coming to the Eastern Shore. Once they get here, where do they go? What towns? What businesses? And that's just going to make us stronger in our marketing efforts. We've had a pretty good idea of where our visitors come from. This is only going to, I think, solidify it and just make us even stronger as a region. And again, I think a rising tide lifts all boats. So please come to Delaware. Please come to Maryland. Please come to Virginia. I think it helps us all.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much, Robert. Last but certainly not least, Danny, we gave you 3 or 4 minutes on the front end, my friend. So
He's got credit.
go ahead and blow us away with our remaining time. We've got about 13 minutes left, and then we'll jump into the next panel.
I'll tell you what, man, I felt like I was the kids getting ready to get into a game. I was like, man, come on, put me in, coach. Put me in, coach. Put me in, coach. But no, so of course, the good thing about going last is they said half of the stuff that we would normally talk about, workforce and all that kind of stuff. So thank you all for taking care of that stuff for me. But I will say, Bill, the Salisbury Chamber, the vision for having Sussex and Accomack County, we don't really count Northampton too much, but Accomack County, coming in there, truly, I tell you, I've been around for a while, and I've never seen such strong partnerships today. Not that before there wasn't good relationships and all like that, but you're really starting to see a lot more networking with Wycomico, Somerset, and Worcester, Dorchester, and the like. So I think that's a big thing. I will tell you, because he reminded me of it, and I was going to talk a little bit later on the walking trail. Our tourism director, Clint Sterling, and I went down to Virginia, and they wanted to know a little bit of history of how we did the biking trail. So we were glad to do that. We do believe rising tide raises all boats. And then also on the natural gas side, thanks to Bill and Mike Dunn with the Greater Salisbury and Governor Hogan and all, we were going through that natural gas. Well, they're doing a natural gas thing, and so somebody called me up and asked me if I'd speak to them, and great conversation. And so I'm cheering for you. If I got to go down there, and we'll shake some cans if we have to. But so anyway, that was that. The other thing is Susan, I loved your video. I loved it. We all couldn't visit Dorchester County today. The thing I liked about it, it's we can all talk about stats. But Zach and I had a conversation about what Mount Air does with partnering with the chickens and all right before Thanksgiving. They had over 300 and some just at our local church. And we were saying right before we came here, it's that face-to-face. You know, you can write that check, but it's that face-to-face connection. And I went out and signed up, and I delivered 12 to families that were very appreciative. I've already gotten cards back. So, Susan, that brought that connection to that, and I love it. I can't wait to see the thing. So, I got to use this PowerPoint because my secretary did it. And would I hit this area here? There we go. So, Somerset County is a little bit, all of our counties have different personalities. And so all of them have strengths and we have our weaknesses. But Somerset County, I love Somerset County. I love the region. But we're just going to hit on some of the highlights, and then I'm going to get into some of the other things. You can see the topics there. I don't need to read them because I'm going to come to them anyway. Okay. So process integration, I announced, I think it was last year, they were in the building phase. They're up. They got their occupancy permit earlier this year, and that's about a $5 million project. They're actually already, they've only been in there about, well, the plans were like a year and a half old, year and 10 months, and they already need 10,000 more square feet. So they're doing a great job there. It's brought in about 10 to 12 jobs. Yep, I'm doing all right. So the Princess Anne Industrial Park, Element MD is in the Princess Anne Industrial Park. They were hoping to have their occupancy permit by the holidays. I know that they've gotten most of it, a lot of activity, a lot of construction. I stopped by there a couple of weeks ago, and you will see that probably early in the year then. I think they got permission to do, in their processing piece, some samples and stuff for like sales and all like that. So they're coming along very well. Yep. And then in Chrisfield, I know Bill and them came down to Carville Hall. This ties right into it. It's the same company that's in the processing. They'll be doing cultivation in Chrisfield at the Carville Hall facility, and they've been waiting to get their processing up and going in Princess Anne. They're actually importing that product in now for their supply chain, so we'll do that. Passenger ferry, we sit on a call every week, and we partnered with Little Story on the passenger ferry. For those that have been around for a while, there was a vehicle ferry that was proposed 15 years ago. And so it's kind of come back, but it's now on a passenger-only ferry. Our friends in Annapolis, city of Annapolis, had partnered with Queen Anne's County, and they were working on that endeavor. The DMOs were working on that. And then we were on an economic development call. I know Susan was on there, and it was about the Chesapeake Bay being a natural park. And there was questions. And in that conversation, I heard about this, what Queen Anne's and Annapolis was doing. So we got with our tourism director, Clint, and we say, we'd like to be a part of this ferry. With that, we've been meeting since March, every Thursday by Zoom. We had one in-person meeting at the Tourism Summit. I drove down to catch that at the Clarion, or whatever it's called now. What's it called?
Ocean City Fontainebleau.
Ocean City Fontainebleau. So anyway, so we're down there working on that. You can see that. It's a really good project. There'll be an RFP that'll be going out, and then you'll see a lot of work that'll be coming on that in the spring of next year. Infrastructure. So we mentioned on the broadband side, we're really pushing hard because we are remote, we're rural. We've really done well. I think we've still got some more way to go on that. But Chop Tank, Charter, Spectrum, Simple Fiber, and Talkie, they're all out there doing their thing. We got a request too from Verizon. So we've spent a lot of money in working with the Maryland Broadband Commission and also Cooperative, and also Rick Gordon as well. Natural gas, Chesapeake Utilities here. I think they're a sponsor as well of this event. Shane, nothing but good thing is coming out of that, man. We're getting all good word is coming in. That gave us a lot of publicity. So I think you'll see UMES and ECI hooked up. Jim, good to see you. You'll see that probably in the late winter, early spring, connecting on that. Anything on that? And I am still supporting it all the way down in Virginia.
They got to go through you to get there, Danny.
That's right. Yep. Liquor license, Somerset. I got a call from who was it called me? They were asking me about the liquor. I think it was Bill. No matter. But Bill called and wanted to know what was the deal with our liquor license. It's been county run, and there was legislation last year in the General Assembly. As of July 1 of this year, we could privatize that and we go out and we wouldn't have to have a county-run facility. We are in that process. We have, that I know of, I think it's four that's there. I think you'll probably see a couple more, but as of December 31st, it will be all privately run, and there's an annual license fee for that on there. Main Street revitalization in Chrisfield. So I'll come back on the visioning thing, but Chrisfield, yeah, it's still there. We're doing, the city of Chrisfield did a visioning exercise. John and Jess in Chrisfield came down and we participated in that. I know I think the mayor said the other day that the results are just you'll be briefing the mayor and city on that. So we're anxiously awaiting that. So that's some good things that are happening. Chrisfield is in that transitional piece. I see a lot of similarities, Susan, with Dorchester and how Cambridge was and where Chrisfield is. And I think these are the partnerships. I think some of these networking pieces, one of the things that Chrisfield has a lot of infrastructure issues with flooding. We set up a meeting with the mayor of Annapolis, Mayor Buckley, and he'll be coming down like the third Friday in January. I want to hear some of what he's experiencing down at his city dock in Annapolis, and I think, Susan, we're going to hook up and have them come there and you guys come down. I think that would be a good thing. Davis Strategic Development. I know Brett. I don't know if he's here or if somebody's here on it, but he's doing a lot in Chrisfield, and he's also, in Princess Anne, and we had a meeting the other day with the mayor and her team, and so we're looking for some good things there. UMES, Jim, I got nothing but good about Dr. Anderson and the university. They've got the School of Pharmacy that's going to be, their ribbon cutting will be coming up in the spring. And I know that she's working out with different players on that. So they've done a lot downtown. So UMES is in the airspace. Dave mentioned that as well. Somerset Crossing, I think she's got a picture on there. So I know Delmarva Builders, Chris has been the driver on that one. And I was talking to one of his construction guys. They were shooting for the middle of December to have the Royal Farms up. But it's not just the Royal Farms. There's four commercial pad sites there, a proposed hotel, and office space, over 100,000 square foot of retail office space. I know that the developer for this project is actually doing a lot in Wycomico with Mayor Jake Day on the housing side, and Melanie's doing some stuff in Ocean City, down in Worcester County. They're partners in a couple facilities down there. Washington Hotel. Washington Hotel was a really good public-private partnership. It's been in the works, or it's been put together. The current operator is, he's one of those, not a baby boomer, but close to it. But anyway, I think he wants to do some other things. So he's going to be out December 31st. And so I told Leanne to make sure she put on there That's a heck of a bargain there, $800,000. It's a 10 rooms. It's a full bar, and it's got 2 dining areas that are there. So if you're interested in that or know somebody that's interested, I see my good friend Sperry Van Ness and Henry Han. I think they're sponsors here as well. What else have I got? Am I doing all right? Okay. I got
2-minute warning, Mr.
2
Thompson.
minutes. All right. So we partner with anybody from the Community Foundation Eastern Shore here. That's what I'm talking about. Erica, see, that's good. She don't even know it's on the slide. So we come up with an idea called Project Score. We really struggle. I am really envious of. I don't get jealous much, but it just irks me, man, that I see these breweries in downtown Cambridge, and then I got, I'm dealing with Berlin, what they got going there, and then I got Mogan's up here in Salisbury, and then I got, Snow Hill with Oak and all this kind of stuff. I get to go to all these places. I no disrespect, but I'd like to stay in my own hometown, and so we felt that there was a need, and so we want to, we sent I was talking to Heather with the Community Foundation, and I said we come up with a project called Project Score. Somerset County Opportunity Restaurant Expansion. We were awarded $2,500. Thank you, Erica. And we're gonna do we're not gonna steal nobody. I want to put that up front. We don't believe in that. Dave and I have talked about we don't do that. But I do believe that there's expansion efforts. So if somebody wants to have a satellite business, and whether they're in Dorchester and stuff, we encourage. Look, when you grow. And you go, look, Green Turtle, look at Green Turtle. Look, Green Turtle did. I mean, they had one, and then they went all over the country, right? So anyway, so we believe in that. And so we're going to put out a little a media campaign and do that and partner. And thanks to Chesapeake Community Foundation in the Eastern Shore. I mentioned that. Survey, make sure you fill out the survey, John. She's going to be sending out that. And I had one more thing here. Let me make sure my slide. I'm just throwing stuff all over the place. That's why
You're just lucky we don't have walk-off music.
Hang on a second. Make sure I ain't forgetting them. Kayla got me all excited when she came. I will say that I love Melanie, the Zartico. That's an excellent tool. So Clint and I are working on some of getting that. Tourism came out with a slogan. She had Maryland Coast. Clint came out with a thing. It's called "It's Time," and he said, it's time for what? It could be it's time for anything, right? It's time to swim and stuff. So we got the Summers Cove Marina. We've got the kayaking with Billy Joe down in Crisfield. We've got James Island State Park, and so anyway, we're looking to do a lot of good things. And thank you for indulging me. Thanks for Kayla coming. Another hand for Kayla over there. Thank you. Wish you good luck.